Welcome back, mere mortalites. Guess what topic I'm going to be talking about today? I just got married. Yes. One half of the mere mortals has successfully put a ring on it, as they say. And yeah, just recently got through the process, the journey, the fun times of being married. Now, this one in particular is going to be released a little bit later, obviously, than when it actually happens. It'll be asynchronous to it, but this is right in the moment. Just wanted to talk about it a couple of days sort of post that as well. Just in more general effective philosophy thoughts and processes, because some things that come up in my mind, and I went, you know what, it'd be worth talking about them. I won't get into the usuals and the borings that you probably hear. Maybe something a little bit more interesting is what I go after. So there was a couple of things that popped up in my mind around just getting married, or just putting the ring on it, putting the final touches on what people would say. Yeah, that's the end game for a relationship, or perhaps it's the beginning of other things. So I'll start with that point, which is, do things change after you get married? A lot of people, prior to the wedding occurring, the legality of all of it, they sort of, are you worried? Are you stressed? Are you nervous? What's going to change? And me and my partner had a very open conversation. Well, me and my wife had a very open conversation about this prior to and after getting married. And lo and behold, for us, and again, this might not be for everyone, but for us, the answer was no, nothing changes. Nothing really changes. Of course, legally, depending on where you are in the world, we're here in Australia. Legally, it has some ramifications. It has changes if you want to go and change your name, and other various bits that obvious it's going to change. But what it didn't change, and I guess the way that people were speaking to us about it around nervous and changes and what's it going to be like now that you're married, their answer is there's not really all that much. In fact, it's the same old world that exists. Now, a caveat with that is that at least me and my partner, maybe we did things back to front. We went down the path of buying our house and having a little darling girl, kind of prior to actually going ahead and getting married. So I think sometimes people would probably see it in a way that marriage is the beginning of that next stage where people might go and purchase a property or a home or move or set up their family. Whereas because we did it in reverse and we set up all those things prior to, and then we went to go and tie the knot, then it doesn't feel like there's a significant change that's in the path or that's coming. And I don't know if we'd gone the other way, if I'd be speaking to you differently about that. But I think my general trend or thought about this is not all that much changes. However, there's one particular thing that I wanted to call out that I went, this was interesting. I did not expect this. And it's actually about the ring. So this particular ring, right? And there's a backstory to it, but I'll save it for another time. But the ring or wearing the ring was a significant change, or at least the most significant change that I've been able to see and feel. And that's, I've been wearing it now for a couple of days, right? And not only do I notice it, of course, because I'm just someone who doesn't wear a lot of jewelry, right? I'll have a watch on, I've got a necklace, but generally no rings. I did have a ring when I was younger, but since then, didn't really wear too many. But wearing a ring, and I've felt it, a couple of examples. One, being in a work meeting and feeling either the ring, either like twisting it or just feeling it in my hand. That's been one of those moments where I've felt it, and I'll tell you what the feeling is in a moment. So there's that. There's also been just, eating some food and tapping it on the plate, or tapping it against like a cup that I've got as well. And also just hanging out with family and just feeling and seeing people coming up and having a bit of a look at it. So what is that feeling I'm trying to talk about? I'll say it feels wise. It feels mature. And when I was younger, right, 16, 18, 20, as I kind of grew older, of course, life changed, went through university or finished school, went through university, got to work, did all these various things. And all the time I felt the same young person doing the various things. Even all through my 20s, of course, lots of good stuff was done, successes, failures, you name it. But still, I sort of felt like, I'm still a boy, still the boy one. And it wasn't until the ring sort of formally fit into the finger that the penny dropped on maturity, on the feeling of being a man. Now, How has that been such a significant change for me in comparison to all the other things that I've done, accomplished, failed at in life, or attempted? Right, already done plenty of things from a work perspective, from a business perspective, from a whatever you name it. I think I've done a lot of various things in life, and I don't know why the ring in particular has been the thing that all of a sudden makes it feel like I'm a mature old man or a mature individual. Not sure, but perhaps it's the responsibility that it comes with it. Perhaps it's just a feeling that I don't normally have something on from a jewelry perspective. Now having that up, having it, mapping it obviously to the wedding and the opportunity slash the when sort of saying the vows and what it actually means in its context. Maybe it has some powers and thoughts around that. But for whatever case, that has actually been the biggest change that I could tell you from a day to day, from what probably was going to be into the future as well. Life sort of remains the same, and I probably want it to be in that way, right? Whatever you come through, and I guess you celebrate, you participate in the wedding, you go through that particular journey. You're doing it, at least for me, I'm doing it a lot as much for my family, for the close friends of ours, for my partner, as much as it is anything else, right? Left to my own devices, I'm not sure if I would have been the human that goes, I really want to get married. Not sure. Maybe eventually, but had I known that I would have this feeling putting on a ring, I might have thought differently. So that's my like bigger takeaway, right? From that is expect the unexpected sometimes of what you're going to get from getting married. The other one that I wanted to talk about as well was reading the actual vows. Now, I am okay as an individual that can talk about a variety of things without really having a script and kind of making it up as I go. Example, this very podcast. I took no notes. I thought about it maybe for a couple of minutes beforehand, but I thought, let's just roll the camera, throw the audio on, turn the camera, the lights on. I'll make something do. In fact, it's my thoughts about life, so it's quite easy to have a conversation about. Now, for the vows, I had all these magical thoughts in my mind of how well I'd be able to eloquently explain and present and talk about them and talk about my partner and myself and the struggles and the successes that we've been going through, all these things. I thought, I'm going to nail it. In fact, I prepped by writing them prior to, so I didn't even go off the cuff. I thought, I'll prep them, wrote them down, either lost them or deleted them. I'm not sure what happened. Rewrote them again the day before, then translated that over to paper. So done it a couple of times. I thought about it. I thought, yep, I'm confident. I've put lots of thoughts into this one. Compared it as well with my wife to go, look, do we have the same amount of characters and words here? One's going to be too long and the other one not as long. We matched it up. It was pretty nice. We didn't check into each other's, but just from afar. And then the day came, right? We were standing next to each other. Most of the conversation had been done. Actually, pardon, the personal vows came sort of at the start that we were sort of saying it before the legal vows. My wife, because they go between wife and partner here, there's another change because they're wife. My wife and I had discussed it that I would be going first. Fantastic, throw me into the deep end, doesn't matter, that'd be totally fine. Pulled out the vows, had it on a piece of white paper, his vows, opened it up, cleared my throat. In fact, I got this whole thing of video and opened it up and went, and as I started talking through them, all of a sudden this emotional feeling started to overcome me. Now, this sounds pretty tried and pretty stupid as I'm saying this now, but there was a lot of emotions going on as I was trying to say these particular vows. And as much as I'd sort of practiced it and written it down and that I have the ability to go and talk when I need to, kind of fish underwater type of style, in this very moment, the emotions that were going around and swirling made it really, really difficult to go and, I wouldn't call it present, but just to say my vows, what I thought about my wife. And I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that at all. I think it's two parts. One, I haven't been in positions like that for a really long time where I'm maybe really emotional, whether positive or negative valence, emotion, and then having to talk or pretend like that. Maybe it's just not the case. And so this moment was like, whoa, what's going on? I haven't prepared for that. So that was unexpected in that regard. And the other one was perhaps I should have been prepared for that to be the case so that it didn't feel strange for when it was happening, right? So my wife, she's an emotional individual, she had a little tear or two when we were going through the ceremony, and that is to be expected. Was it to be expected also that I shed a tear too, or had, different types of emotions that you might have just picking up a hot dog or a coffee? Of course it was. And again, for whatever reason, going into it in a silly one way, I just didn't. I just thought, I'll be able to just present this like I'm talking to you now, right? Being nice and easy, like I'm talking to the crowd. There was very, very few people there, and it wasn't the case. But I enjoyed being so beautifully humbled in that particular way, to be honest. And in the end, I got through the vows, set them through, but one of the later, one of the things that I recognized was, not just when I'm doing a podcast, but if I'm doing other things, especially if I want to be presenting or talking or performing a particular act, also be prepared to do it in the position and the environment and the emotions that I'm going to be in that moment. One of the things I've always thought in my mind is, I've done so many podcasts. I talk so much in front of a camera or a computer or to generally people that I know. And I go, you know what? I'm pretty good at speaking. I think I can do this. And I've often thought, you know what, I could probably do a presentation or a TED talk or something to that effect. But if I was to be real now, again, taking that learning, I go, perhaps not, because in these moments, computer, camera, people that I'm closest to, there's comfort, there's knowledge in that I've done it before. There's a more general neutral emotion, I guess I would say. Whereas going up on stage and getting the butterflies and starting to feel either panicked or from a negative perspective or positive in them being really happy or engaged, there's probably going to come some real problematic ways and then trying to translate, talk, say the things I want to because of the emotions, because of the environment, the context, the standing. It takes me back to doing, a bodybuilding show way back in the day and thinking in my mind that if you posed and you did it in front of lights and everything went well, that you'd be totally prepared. And then you get up there and it's same, but different. And so I think this is the other learning coming out of the wedding. It's same, whether you're presenting your vows. So if I said them to you right now, I reckon I'd nail it. But doing it there, just in front of my loved ones, in front of my wife, it's same, but different. So that's a big key sort of like learning and takeaway as well from that. The last one, and this is a very little one that I want to just call out, is weddings. As much as people probably know this, so if you haven't been married, if you haven't gotten married, weddings take up a lot of time and preparation. And as much as you prepare for them, something will always go awry. Something will go wrong. Something won't live up to expectation or be beyond what your expectations, and then you're in a completely different state. Whatever the case may be, just go with the flow. I ended up doing that by default well, even though there was certain moments where, to give you an example, the cake shop had closed at a time that we were not expecting. So unfortunately, when we were trying to go get the cake, to go and panically get out there before they'd closed this particular shop, I think they were cleaning the floors and they said, if you don't get there in time, then we're just going to leave the cake outside and you have to pick it up. Thankfully, got there before the cake was left outside, but it was a go with the flow type of day. In the end, when you reflect back on it, I reflect back on it years from now, I'll hopefully just remember and be able to vividly recall, standing at the altar, going for that dinner afterwards, enjoying those cocktails, all the things that are just key pieces to my memory and of the moment of getting married and the wedding, and all of those tiny little imperfections, which at the moment you think is going to be terrible, in the future you'll never remember, nor will anybody else. And all that you'll actually be caring about is the fact that you were there in the moment, present, having a good old time. So, look, those are just some of my thoughts around getting married recently. A little bit different, probably not something that usually gets discussed, but at least it's my own sort of personal take around that as well. I'll leave it there, mere mortalites, wherever you are in the world, whether you're married or not. Be well, one out.